Hello everyone, in this video lecture I am going to cover basic concepts related to air compressor. First of all, we need to understand the term compressor. Compressor is a kind of a device which is used to increase the pressure of air. As you see in this animation, compressor consists of piston and the cylinder mechanism. This piston is connected to the crank via connecting rod. As the crank rotates, piston will reciprocate. Now, because of the reciprocating motion of the piston, the air which is coming inside the compressor is compressed and the compressed air is delivered to the delivery pipe. Now, let us understand the term compressor in detail. Compressor is a machine which takes in air or any other gas at low pressure and compress it to the high pressure. Over here, we are talking about air compressor. So, in this case, working fluid will be considered as air. These compressors are the power consuming machines in which mechanical energy is converted into the pressure energy. So in order to run the compressor, that is to run the crank, connecting rod and the piston mechanism, you need to supply the power, and that power will be supplied with the help of prime mover. Prime mover could be anything like electrical motor or IC engine. Now this device will consume the power, and that power is in the form of mechanical work. So mechanical work is nothing but the reciprocation motion of the piston. So this reciprocating motion of the piston is converted into the pressure energy of air or gas. The compressor used for increasing the pressure of air is called as air compressor. Now we will study the uses of compressed air. First, it is used in operating pneumatic drills, hammers for the formation of rivet head. Pneumatic drills are nothing but a kind of a drilling machine which operates with the help of compressed air. Next, compressed air is used for filling tires in automobile. It can also be used in spray painting. Next, it is used to increase the inlet pressure at the IC engine. Also, it is used to operate the air motors in mine where fire risks are more. So in mining, we need to blast the rocks of solid rocks. So in order to blast the solid rocks, we are using the motor which is operated by air. Next, compressed air can also be used for pumping the water. Because pumping is the power consuming machine, so the power which is generated by the compressed air could be used to operate the pump. It can also be used in gas turbine power plants. Next, it can be used to convey the materials like sand and concrete along the pipeline. Also, it can be used for the sand blasting or in the operation of blast furnace. Blast furnace is used to get the iron from the ore. It can also be used in air brakes in automobiles such as bus, trucks and trains. Classification of compressor. Now compressor are classified according to different criteria. So we will see those criteria one by one. First is method of compression. According to the method of compression, there are total 3 different types. First is reciprocating compressor, in which air or gas is compressed by reciprocating action of piston inside the cylinder. This animation is of reciprocating compressor, in which piston reciprocates, and because of the reciprocation motion of the piston, the air which is inside the cylinder get compressed. So in the reciprocating compressor, an element such as piston is used, and the reciprocation motion of the piston is used to increase the pressure of air. Next is rotary compressor. In this compressor, air or gas is compressed by the rotation of impeller or blade inside the casing, similar to rotary pump. You can see one figure over here. This figure is for rotary compressor. There are total 2 lobes. These 2 lobes are rotated and the air between these 2 lobes is squeezed so that its pressure increases. If fresh air will enter from the upper end, this fresh air will get trapped between the lobe and the casing. Because of this trapment, the pressure of the air is increased and the pressurized air will transfer to the delivery pipe. Now over here, pressure is increased because of the rotation of the impeller or the blades. Centrifugal compressor, air is compressed to a desired pressure by rotation of impeller as well as because of centrifugal action. As you see in this video, there is a disc over here. This disc is nothing but an impeller. This impeller is rotated, air enters from the center and it is transferred towards the delivery pipe. Now because of the rotation of the impeller, the air is get compressed. So here air is compressed because of the rotating element as well as because of centrifugal action. Let's move to next classification. According to delivery pressure, there are total 4 categories. First is low pressure. When the pressure is up to 1.1 bar, then it is considered as low pressure compressor. When pressure range is between 1.1 and 8 bar, it is considered as medium pressure. When the pressure is between 8 to 10, it is considered as high pressure. And when pressure is greater than 10 bar, it is considered as very high pressure compressor. Third classification is according to the principle of operation. So there are total 2 classification. First is positive displacement. In the positive displacement, pressure of air is increased by reducing the volume. As you see in the reciprocating compressor, there is a piston cylinder arrangement. So piston reciprocates inside the cylinder. Piston reciprocates inside the cylinder. So when the volume of air inside the cylinder reduces, pressure increases. So reciprocating compressors work on the principle of positive displacement. That is, pressure increases by the reduction of volume. Air is compressed by the positive displacement with the piston or with the rotating element. Also in case of the rotary compressor, you can see that there are lobes over here. As you see in the previous slide, if you see in the previous slide of rotary compressor, there are 2 lobes. Now the air which is trapped between the lobe and the casing, that is in the spaces, the air will get squeezed inside this space, and because of this squeezed action, squeezed means what? Volume reduction. So because of the volume reduction, pressure is increased. So in rotary compressor, the air is compressed because of reduction of volume. So these 2 compressors work on the principle of positive displacement. First is reciprocating compressor and second is rotary compressor. Next principle of operation is rotodynamic or steady flow compressor. Air is compressed by the rotating element by imparting velocity to the flowing air, and then it is used to develop the desired pressure. Rotodynamic principle is used in centrifugal compressors. So positive displacement principle is used in reciprocating and rotary compressor, and rotodynamic principle is used in centrifugal compressor. The main function of the rotodynamic compressor is air is compressed because of rotating element. In this case, pressure of air is increased by reduction of volume. Here, reduction of volume is not takes place, but pressure is increased because of rotating element. Next classification according to number of stages. First is single stage compressor. When the pressure increased up to 5 bar, then that compressor is considered a single stage compressor. In single compressor, we can't increase the pressure beyond 5 bar. So if we want to deliver pressure above 5 bar, we need to use the multi-stage compressor. So for multi-stage compressor, we can obtain the pressure above 5 bar. Next classification according to the number of cylinders. If there is only one cylinder, it is considered a single cylinder compressor, and if there are more than one, then it is considered as multi-cylinder compressor. Sixth is according to the pressure limit. First is fan. When the pressure range is between 1 to 1.1, then those compressors are considered as fan. So ceiling fan which we see in our household, that in that case the pressure ratio is between 1 to 1.1. Blowers are those compressors in which pressure ratio is between 1.1 to 2.5. And compressors are considered as those devices whose pressure ratio is above 2.5 bar. So if the exit of the compressor, at the exit of the compressor, if pressure is above 2.5 bar, then those device is considered as compressor. according to the volume of air delivered. First is low capacity compressor when the volume flow rate is up to 10 meter cube per minute. And if volume flow rate is between 10 to 300 meter cube per minute, it is considered as medium capacity compressor. And above 300 meter cube per minute, it is considered as high capacity compressor. Eighth classification, according to the fluid which is to be compressed. If air is compressed in a compressor, it is considered as air compressor. If gas is compressed, then gas compressor, and if vapor is compressed, then it is considered as vapor compressor. So these were the different criteria of classification for compressor. Now let us study different kind of compressor. So there are total 3 kinds of compressor: reciprocating, rotary and centrifugal. So first part is of reciprocating compressor. As you see in this figure, reciprocating compressor consists of piston and cylinder arrangement. So this compressor is widely used for compressing air for all ranges of pressure. Construction. It consists of cylinder in which piston reciprocates. As you see that this is a cylinder in which piston reciprocates inside the cylinder. Piston is driven by the crank and connecting rod. The element which is connected to the piston is nothing but connecting rod, and connecting rod is connected to the crank. This is the crank which is rotating in the clockwise direction. In order to rotate the crank, we are using prime mover, and that prime mover could be electrical motor or any other equipment. Now crank is mounted inside the crankcase. This outer portion is considered as crankcase. There are total 2 valves. First is suction valve and second is delivery valve. This suction valve will open when piston will move in the downward direction. So you can see over here, this is a suction valve, and over here this is a delivery valve. So this suction valve will get open only when piston will move in the downward direction. So as piston will move in the downward direction, volume increases, volume of inside the cylinder increases. As a result, pressure reduces, and because of the pressure difference, the suction valve will open and the fresh air will move inside the cylinder. And when the piston is moved in the upward direction, the air which is already there inside the cylinder, it will get compressed. So pressure of air will increase, and the pressurized air will now transfer to the delivery pipe. The suction valve and the delivery valve, they are pressure differential type. Thus, they are operated automatically by the difference of pressure across the valve. Now there are 2 kinds of operations in single acting reciprocating compressor. One is without clearance and second is with clearance. What do you mean by without clearance? Without clearance means what? There is no clearance volume left when there is a delivery stroke. So no clearance volume means what? Piston will be at the uppermost position and there is no gap between piston and the cylinder in the uppermost position. So that means there is no clearance. Clearance means what? Let's say that this is a cylinder and this is a piston. So between piston and the cylinder there is no gap, means this volume is 0. So if this volume is 0, it means what? There is no clearance. Now in the first stroke, when the piston will move from top dead center to the bottom dead center, so let's say that this is your piston, it will move from top end to the bottom end. So when the piston will move from top to bottom, this volume will increase. So if you see the 2 figure over here, piston is at the topmost position, and when the piston will move to the bottommost position, volume over here increases from this position to this position. So as volume increases, your suction valve will open, and this suction valve will open and the fresh air will move inside the cylinder. So that is considered as suction stroke. So at point 1, the piston is at the topmost position. This is point 4, sorry. At the point 4, piston is at the topmost position. And as the piston will move downward, volume increases from, at point 4 volume is 0. So volume will increases from point 4 to point 1. At point 1, piston is at the bottommost position. That is at this position. So the volume of cylinder inside this piston is V1. Now when the piston is at the bottommost position, it will start move in the upward direction. So as piston will move in the upward direction, it will get compressed. Air which is inside the cylinder can compress by three different kind of processes. It could be either of these three processes. That is, it could be either adiabatic compression or polytropic compression or isothermal compression. Now these are three different curves for three different processes. If it is from 1 to 2, it can be considered as adiabatic compression. If it is from 1 to 2 dash, it can be considered as polytropic, and from 1 to 2 double dash, it can be considered as isothermal. So from 1 to 2, pressure increases from P1 to P2. So pressure increases and volume reduces from V1 to V2. So here volume is reduces and pressure increases. So it works on the principle of positive displacement, that is, pressure increases because of reduction in volume. Now at point 2, the air will get discharged with the help of delivery pipe. So at point 2, delivery valve will open, and whatever the air which is there inside the cylinder, it will transfer outside the cylinder. So slowly the volume will reduce from V2 to V3 at constant pressure P2. Now over here you can see that volume at 4th point and volume at 3rd point, that is before the start of suction stroke and at the end of the delivery stroke, volume is equal to 0. It means there is no clearance. Fine. Now area under this diagram, area under this PV diagram, if we consider this curve from 1 to 2 dash, then this will be the area under the diagram. This area under the diagram represents the work required to compress the air from pressure P1 to pressure P2. This work will be supplied to the crank. Now, as the compressor is the power consuming device, we need to check that it will consume least amount of work, because we are giving power to the compressor to run it. So as it is consuming the power, we have to check the least area inside the PV diagram. So least area under the PV diagram is for the process isothermal compression. So for the isothermal compression, minimum work is required to operate the compressor. Whereas in case of adiabatic compression, maximum work is required to compress the air. So the area under the diagram represents the work done, and work done is minimum in case of isothermal compression, because area is minimum for isothermal compression and maximum for adiabatic compression. And we need to have a minimum area because it is consuming the work. Fine. Now let's move to operation with clearance. Now why clearance volume is required? First of all, we need to understand the term clearance. When the piston is at the topmost position, then there is some volume which is left. So this is the volume which is left between the piston and the top of the cylinder. Fine. So this volume is considered as clearance volume, VC. Fine. And when this clearance volume is not present, then it can be considered as operation without clearance. Now in this case, we need to understand what will happen when we operate the reciprocating compressor with clearance. Now first of all, why clearance volume is required? Clearance volume is required because so as to prevent the striking of piston at the cylinder head. When there is no clearance, piston will strike the cylinder head. So as the piston will reciprocate, it will keep on striking this cylinder head. So cylinder head is nothing but the uppermost part of the cylinder. So it may cause vibrations. So we need to prevent it. In order to prevent it, we can provide the clearance volume. Next reason for providing clearance is thermal expansion due to high temperature at the end of the compression. There is very high thermal expansion of air at the end of the compression, and because of the thermal expansion of air, it can cause damage to the compressor. Next reason is to maintain the machine tolerance. Now it is not possible to perfectly manufacture zero clearance compressor, because every time you can't manufacture two machines with exact same dimensions. So tolerance means what? There is slight misalignment in the dimensions when manufacturing two components of similar size. Now it becomes very difficult to maintain the machine tolerance when we construct the reciprocating compressor without clearance. And with clearance, we can easily maintain the machine tolerance. This is the pressure versus volume diagram for reciprocating compressor with clearance. Now, if you see in this figure, then at point 1, compressor volume is V1. So at point 1, piston is at the bottommost position. At point 1, piston is at the bottommost position. So this is the position of piston at point 1. Now piston is moving in the upward direction. So whatever the air which is present inside this cylinder, it will get compressed. Now let's say that from point 1 to point 2, the air is compressed according to certain process, and that process is nothing but the compression process. It could be any process out of the three process, that is either it could be adiabatic process or polytropic process or isothermal process. Let's say that it is some compression process by which air is compressed from 1 to 2. So at 2 point, piston will be at the uppermost position. Also at point 2, clearance volume will be present. Now from 2 to 3, air is compressed. So as the air is compressed, this compressed air will transfer to the delivery pipe. So 2 to 3 is nothing but delivery process. Now at point 3, volume is not zero. You can see that there is some volume over here, that is volume V3. This volume V3 is considered as clearance volume. In case of operation without clearance, the PV diagram was like this. Point 1, from point 2, this is the compression process, and at the end of the compression process, there is a delivery process. So at the end of the delivery process, the volume was zero in operation without clearance. So this is without clearance. And with clearance, there is some volume at the end of the delivery process. So this volume is nothing but clearance volume. Now whatever the air which is present inside this clearance volume, it will get expand. So the air inside this clearance volume will get expand as per the expansion process. So process 3 to 4 is the expansion process, and at the point 4, the suction valve will open and new fresh air will enter inside the cylinder. As you see in this animation, when the piston will move in the downward direction, the air which is present in the clearance volume, it will get expand from volume 3 to volume 4. Also at point 4, fresh air will enter inside this cylinder through the suction valve. Now amount of fresh air which enters inside this cylinder is between V4 to V1. So this volume is nothing but effective swept volume. And if you consider the volume from V1 to V3, then this volume is considered as swept volume. Now if you see that area under the PV diagram is less as compared to that of operation without clearance. So very important conclusion over here is, if we operate the compressor with clearance, the area under the PV diagram will reduce. Now area under the PV diagram represents the consumption of work. It means when the compressor is operated with clearance, it will consume less work as compared to that of without clearance. So work done with clearance is less as compared to that of work consumption without clearance. So as work required to operate the compressor without clearance is more, and it is the power consuming device, we will prefer the compressor with clearance because it consumes less power. So those compressor which consumes less power will be preferable as compared to that of those which consumes more power. So in this case, we have to prefer the compressor with clearance. Now over here, volume V1 minus V4 is called as suction volume or effective swept volume, or it can be considered as free air delivery at the suction condition. Now effect of clearance is to reduce the volume of air actually sucked in per cycle. Now because of this clearance volume, what is the effect? The actual amount of fresh air which is coming inside the cylinder is reduced. So this volume V1 minus V4 is reduced. In case of operation without clearance, V1 minus V4 was more. So this was the PV diagram for operation without clearance. So in this case V1 minus V4, this value is more and this value is reduced in case of operation with clearance. Now let's move to the next. Multi-stage reciprocating compressor. In the previous video, in the previous example, we have seen single stage reciprocating compressor. However, in this case, we will see multi-stage reciprocating compressor. In this case, more than one compressors are connected in series. Now, there is some problem with the single stage compressor and that's why we are using multi-stage compressor. So let us see that what are the problems related to single stage compression. First is, higher the delivery pressure, higher will be the temperature. So the temperature of air at the exit of the compressor is very high. So that can cause some problems. Second reason is, the increase in temperature of air causes reduction in density, hence mass flow rate of air through the compressor reduces. Mass flow rate means amount of air which you are getting at the end of the delivery pipe. So as the temperature of air at the exit, at the outlet, that is at the delivery pipe is more, density reduces. So as density reduces, mass flow rate decreases. Mass flow rate means what? The amount of air which is coming out from the delivery pipe. So as mass flow rate decreases, we are getting less amount of air at the delivery pipe. Third reason, operation at high pressure and temperature will need very heavy working part. Now if we want to increase the pressure of air at very high pressure, then this high pressure and temperature requires equipments which are very heavy. Now to overcome these problems related to single stage compressor, we are using multi-stage compressor. As you see that this is a single stage compressor and the exit, that is the delivery pipe of the single stage compressor, is connected to the intercooler. Intercooler is a device which is used to reduce the temperature at constant pressure. So intercooler reduces the temperature at constant pressure. So fresh air enters into the compressor through this suction valve and piston will move in the downward direction. As piston will move in the downward direction, fresh air will come inside the cylinder, and as piston will move from bottom end to the top end, the air which is present inside this compressor, it will get compressed. So as the air will compress, its pressure and temperature both will increase and this delivery valve will open. And as the delivery valve will open, the air which is compressed inside the cylinder, it will get transferred to the delivery pipe. Now high pressure, high temperature air enters into the intercooler. So intercooler reduces the temperature. Let's say that the temperature at the inlet of the intercooler is T1, then temperature at the exit of the intercooler is T2. So in this case, T2 will be less as compared to that of T1. Now this process takes place at constant pressure. Now as the temperature is reduced, high pressure, low temperature air enters into the second compressor through this second suction valve. Now same process is repeated in this second stage of compressor. First stage is considered as low pressure stage and second stage is considered as high pressure stage. So in this case, we are increasing the pressure in stages instead of increasing the pressure in the single stage. This is the three-stage compressor in which there are total 3 reciprocating compressor. First is low pressure compressor, second is intermediate pressure compressor, and third is high pressure compressor. Between two compressors there is an intercooler, that is intercooler 1 and intercooler 2. Now let us see the PV diagram of these compressors. Now all these compressors are operated without clearance. It means there is no clearance volume. So when there is no clearance volume, the suction will start at volume equal to 0. and during the suction stroke volume increases at constant pressure. Now from 1 to 2, pressure of air increases, volume reduces. So from 1 to 2, this is the compression which takes place in low pressure cylinder. So from 1 to 2, pressure increases from P1 to P2 and volume reduces from V1 to V2. Now at point 2, we have high pressure and high temperature. This high pressure, high temperature at point 2 will passes through the intercooler, and at point 2 dash you will get volume V2. So volume reduces and temperature will also reduces at constant pressure. So from 2 to 2 dash, volume reduces at constant pressure P2, also temperature will reduce. Now at point 2 dash, that is at the exit of the first intercooler, air will enter into the intermediate compressor. Now in this intermediate cylinder, air is further compressed from 2 dash to 3. Now as air is compressed from 2 dash to 3, pressure increases from P2 to P3 and volume reduces from V2 to V3. So at point 3, this point 3 is at the exit of the low pressure compressor. Now pressure P3 is greater as compared to that of pressure P2. At point 3, air then enters into the intercooler. In the intercooler, volume reduces from V3 to V3 dash and pressure remains same, that is P3. Also, main function of the intercooler is to reduce the temperature at the exit of air. Now why we are reducing the temperature? Because as temperature reduces, it causes density to increase. It means what? We can handle more quantity of air at the exit of the compressor. Now from 3 dash to 4, pressure increases in the high pressure cylinder and volume reduces from V3 dash to V4. So this is how at point 4 is over here, whatever the air which is present inside this compressor, it will get discharged to the delivery pipe. So volume reduces from V4 to V0. So in this case, from 4 to this 0th point, volume will reduces from V4 to V0. And this is how this multi-stage reciprocating compressor work. Now let's say that instead of 3 different cylinders, if we keep only one single cylinder, if we keep only one single reciprocating compressor, then pressure has to be increased from P1 to P4. Fine. So if pressure is to be increased from P1 to P4 in the single stage, then it could follow the process path from 1 dash to 1 to 4 double dash. So 1 to 4 double dash, if you see over here, this is the curve from 1 to 4 double dash. This curve is for the adiabatic compression. So this is the adiabatic compression for single stage reciprocating compressor. And if you see the area under the PV diagram for single stage reciprocating compressor, then this is the area for single stage reciprocating compressor. Now let's say that this area represent what? Area under the PV diagram represent the work done. And this area is for the single stage in which compression takes place from P1 to P4. Fine. So let's say that the area under the diagram represent the work done, and that work done is W1. Now if the compression takes place in the multiple stages, then this will be the area under the diagram. Let me plot the area under the diagram for multi-stage reciprocating compressor. So this is the area under the diagram for multi-stage reciprocating compressor. So you can say that this area is less as compared to that of the area for the single stage. In the single stage, the compression is from 1 to 4, and this was the additional area over here. So this was the additional area which is consuming under the PV diagram if we take the compression from P1 to P4 in single stage. So you can say that area under the PV diagram reduces in multi-stage reciprocating compressor. So let's say that if there is only single stage reciprocating compressor, work done is W1, then this W1 will be greater as compared to that of the W2, which is the work done under multi-stage compression from pressure P1 to pressure P4. So as work done is less, we will follow that compressor which consume less work, because it is power consuming device. So we need to consume less power to increase the pressure from P1 to P4. So in this case, multi-stage reciprocating compressor consumes less work as compared to that of single stage reciprocating compressor. Now what are the advantages of multi-stage reciprocating compressor? First is, without intercooling, the curve of compressor will follow the path 1 to 4 double dash, and hence saving in work input takes place due to intercooling. This point is already covered, that is, when we operate the single stage compressor from pressure P1 to pressure P4, then it will follow the path 1 to 4 double dash. Now this 1 to 4 double dash is this path. So in this case, area consumed under 1 to 4 double dash is more as compared to that of the reciprocating compressor with intercooler. So saving in work input takes place due to intercooling. Second point, volumetric efficiency is increased due to small pressure range, as effect of expansion of air in the clearance volume is less. Now you can say that as the effect of expansion inside the clearance volume is less, that's why volumetric efficiency increases. Third advantage, less shaft power is required for given pressure ratio due to saving in work input. So but obvious that less power is required to operate the compressor, because it operates, area under the PV diagram is less, so we require less power to operate this compressor. Fourth point, due to small working temperature, better lubricating effect is possible. As we see that with the help of intercooler, we can reduce the temperature between two compressors. So we are operating the compressor at small temperature. So as the temperature is smaller, better lubrication effect can be provided. Fifth point, better mechanical balance and smooth torque angle diagram is obtained. Now in this case of single acting reciprocating compressor, it is possible to obtain the mechanical balance. Sixth point, in multi-stage compressor, low pressure cylinder is lighter. So these low pressure cylinders, they are lighter in weight as compared to that of the single reciprocating compressor, which compresses the pressure from P1 to P4. Seventh, there is less leakage problem due to less pressure difference for each stage. So as there is pressure difference is very less, that is pressure increases in stages. So that's why leakage problem is less in case of multi-stage reciprocating compressor. Next, rotary compressors. So we have covered reciprocating compressor. Now our next topic is rotary compressor. Rotary compressors are classified into two types, rotodynamic compressor and positive displacement compressor. Positive displacement compressor means what? Pressure increases because volume reduces. And in rotodynamic compressor, pressure increases due to rotation of impeller. Due to rotation of impeller. Right. Now rotodynamic compressors classified into two types, centrifugal and axial flow compressor. Whereas positive displacement compressors are classified into three types, root blower, screw compressor and vent type compressor. Let us study this positive displacement compressor first. So in the positive displacement compressor, first is root blower. As you see in this figure, these are the two roots. These are considered as lobes. One of the lobe is connected to the electrical motor. So only one lobe is connected to the power source. However, other lobe is rotated due to the rotation of the first lobe. Now air enters from the upper end. It will entrapped between the lobe and the casing. So between the lobe and the casing, volume reduces and pressure increases, and this pressurized air will move outside through the delivery pipe. This is the other animation in which you can see the air coming from the right and moving towards the left. Now for high pressure ratio, we can use 2, 3 or 4 lobes. So as pressure increases, we can increase the lobes. This is the 2 lobe and this is the 3 lobe rotor. 3 lobe means what? There are 3 parts over here, and in 2 lobes you can see there are 2 parts. It consists of fixed casing which contains two shafts fitted with the two lobes. Now one is driven by the motor or the prime mover and other is driven by the driven rotor. The air through the inlet pipe moves through the now the air is drawn through the inlet pipe due to the rotation of the rotor. This air is drawn through the inlet pipe due to the rotation of the rotor. Now, due to the rotation of the lobe, the trapped air is now carried to the discharge site. As the lobe rotates, the trapped air which is between casing and the lobe, it will get transferred to the discharge site. Because of the continued rotation of the rotor, it will open up the spaces to the discharge pod. And this way the air is pushed to the receiver due to the continued rotation of the rotor. Now next is vane type compressor. As you see in this figure, there is one cylindrical drum. Inside the cylindrical drum there is a rotor. And in this rotor there are vanes which are attached in the radially outward direction. The length of the vanes goes on reducing because they are connected with the spring. Now air enters from one end, it will get trapped between the two vanes. As you can see the bubbles over here, these bubbles are nothing but the trapped air. So this trapped air from the inlet, it will move between these two vanes, it will get compressed and the compressed air will transfer to the delivery pipe. So in vane type compressor, it consists of rotor drum mounted eccentrically in the cylindrical casing. Eccentrically means what? This drum, center of the drum and the center of the rotor, they are not same. So center of the drum is over here and center of the rotor is over here. So there is an offset distance between the center of the drum and the center of the rotor. The rotor is provided with the vanes and they remain in contact with the wall of casing due to centrifugal force. This vane is nothing but the radially outward device, can slide in and out in the slots and volume between the vanes keeps on changing due to the motion of the rotor. And with the rotation of the rotor, the trapped air between the vanes and the casing get compressed due to the reduction of space towards the delivery side. Now because of the rotation of the vanes, air is delivered to the receiver and this type of compression can produce pressure ratio up to 6 per stage. Pressure ratio 6 means what? Let's say that if pressure is P1 at the inlet and pressure at exit is P2, then P2 by P1 it is equal to 6. So this ratio up to 6 can be possible with the help of vane type compressor. Next, centrifugal compressor. Centrifugal compressor consists of shaft with the impeller. This is very similar to the centrifugal pump. You can see the animation of centrifugal compressor. There is a rotating disc over here. So this rotating disc will causes the air which enters through the inlet, and because of this air which comes in contact with respect to the impeller, its centrifugal force increases, and because of the centrifugal force, pressure as well as kinetic energy increases. And this high velocity, high kinetic energy air leaves through the impeller, and from this impeller it will enter into the stationary blades. These stationary blades are nothing but the diffuser blades. This is very similar to the diffuser type of pump which we seen in the previous video. Now the main difference between compressor and the pump is, in compressor we are dealing with the gases such as air or any other gas, whereas in case of pump we are dealing with the liquid, and that liquid could be any liquid like water, oil or anything. So the structure for compressor and the pump are very similar, only difference is with the working fluid. In compressor working fluid is gases, whereas in case of pump working fluids are liquids. As you see in this figure, there is an impeller. This impeller is the rotating disc, and because of the rotation of the impeller, kinetic energy and the pressure energy of air increases as the air will move from the center to the radially outward direction. Now when air moves out through the impeller, it will comes in contact with the diffuser. In the diffuser, area is gradually increasing. As I have told that when the area at the entrance of the diffuser is less as compared to that of the area at the exit of the diffuser. So these are the two diffuser blades over here. So area gradually increases. So area over here is less as compared to that of area at the exit. So as area increases, velocity reduces and pressure increases. So pressure increases as we move in the upward direction. So because of diffuser, kinetic energy of air which is coming out from the impeller is converted into the pressure energy. This high pressure energy air will enter into the casing, and further, because of the increasing area of the casing, further conversion of kinetic energy into pressure energy takes place, and this high pressure energy air will transfer to the receiver with the help of delivery pipe. Let us see the construction over here. It consists of an impeller I with the disc D. On this disc D, large number of radial vanes are mounted or blades are mounted. The impeller is mounted on the compressor shaft S. This shaft usually rotates at the speed of 20,000 to 30,000 rpm. Here C is the volute casing. So this is nothing but the volute casing inside which all the structure is mounted. It is also known as diffuser. There is also one diffuser over here. You can say that diffuser is the stationary blades. Impeller are the rotating blades. The impeller is shrouded by the means of the casing. Surrounding the impeller, casing is surrounding the impeller in such a way that it forms a diverging passage for the air. Now air coming out from the diffuser is collected into the casing of the compressor. It is then taken out from the outlet O. Working. Air at low velocity and at atmospheric pressure enters into the compressor through this eye. So this is the eye through which the air at low atmospheric pressure and low velocity enters into the compressor. This low pressure and low velocity air will flow in the radially outward direction through the impeller blades. So because of these impeller blades, air will move into the radially outward direction. This air is subjected to the centrifugal force while passing through the impeller. As a result, pressure and velocity of air increases because of the impeller. So pressure and velocity of air increases as it passes through the impeller. This high velocity air will passes through the converging passageway formed by the diffuser blades. So this is the passageway which is formed by the diffuser blades. In the diffuser, velocity is reduced. Therefore, a decrease in kinetic energy of air causes increase in pressure. Velocity and pressure are inversely related. So as velocity reduces, pressure increases. Now it has been found that half of the pressure rise takes place in the impeller and half of the pressure rise takes place in the diffuser. Next, axial flow compressor. In the axial flow compressor, you are having two sets of blades. One is fixed blade which is attached to the casing, and second is rotary blade which is attached to the rotor. As you see in this figure, there are two sets of blades. One is fixed blade and second is rotating blade. So this rotating blades and the fixed blades, they are arranged in the alternate manner. So first is stationary blade which is attached to the casing, and second is rotary blade which is attached to the rotor. Therefore, fixed blade and rotating blades, they are arranged in the alternate way. So let's say that this is a stationary casing. In the casing, these are the stationary blades. And in the rotor, this is the rotor over here, and in the rotor there are the blades which is attached to the rotor. Now this rotor is rotating. So as rotor is rotating, these are rotating blades and these are stationary blades. So this stationary and rotating blades, they are arranged in the alternate fashion. Also there are rotating blades and stationary blades at the bottom end also. So you can see these stationary and rotating blades at the top and at the bottom. Also this animation says that one blade is stationary and one is rotating. Let us see the closed view over here. These are the fixed blade which is attached to the casing, and these are the rotary blades which is attached to the rotor. So air will enter into the fixed blade and then it will enter into the rotating blade. Again it will enter into the fixed blade and then it will enter into the rotating blades. Now what will happen because of this? As air will enter from the inlet to the exit, the area between the rotor and the casein, this area is gradually reducing. So as area is gradually reducing, pressure increases. In this compressor, air flows parallel to the axis of the compressor. So in this case, the flow of air takes place parallel to the axis. So that's why it is considered as axial flow compressor. It consists of series of 6 fixed blades and the rotors, which is attached to the rows of moving blades. So fixed blades are attached to the casein and moving blades are attached to the rotor. The fixed blades and moving blades are placed on the alternate rows. The fixed blade receives high velocity air from the moving blades, and this reduces the velocity and increasing the pressure of air. And this links with and because of this, the air will now pass to the next row of moving blades. What this statement says? This statement says that when the air from these moving blades enter into the fixed blade, then the kinetic energy of air is reduced and it converts into the pressure energy. As you see that air from the rotating blades, it will enter into the fixed set of blades. So kinetic energy reduces and pressure energy increases. Again, the air from the fixed set of blades will move to the moving blades. So because of these moving blades, kinetic energy and pressure energy both will increase, and at the fixed blade, kinetic energy reduces and pressure energy increases. So you need to understand the principle of moving blades as well as fixed blades. Now working principle is same as that of the centrifugal compressor. Here moving blades will act like an impeller and fixed blades act like a diffuser. Axial flow compressor runs at very high speed of 10,000 to 30,000 rpm and pressure ratio of 10:1 can be achieved with the help of axial flow compressor. Next is the comparison of reciprocating compressor with the rotary compressor. Reciprocating compressors are like single acting reciprocating compressors and rotary compressors are like rotodynamic compressors or positive displacement compressors. Pressure ratio, discharge pressure is high in case of reciprocating compressor, that is pressure ratio per stage will be of order 4 to 7. So if we take the pressure ratio, pressure at the exit as P2 and pressure at the inlet at P1, then the pressure ratio of 4 to 7 can be obtained with the help of reciprocating compressor. Whereas in case of rotary compressor, pressure ratio of 3 to 5 can be obtained. Second point, handled volume. Quantity of air which is handled is low in case of reciprocating compressor and it is limited to 50 meter cube per second. Whereas in case of rotary compressor, large quantity of air is handled, about 500 meter cube per second of air can be handled. So the quantity of air which is handled in case of rotary compressor is 10 times more as compared to that of the reciprocating compressor. Speed of the compressor, it works on the low speed whereas rotary compressor works at the high speed. Vibration problem. Now in the reciprocating compressor there are pistons which reciprocate. So because of the reciprocation motion, vibration problem can be there in case of reciprocating compressor. Whereas in case of rotary compressor, there is an impeller which rotates. And because of these rotating elements, there is no vibration problem. And so these machine parts are fairly balanced. Size of compressor. Size of compressor is very bulky for reciprocating compressor. Whereas rotary compressor, the size is small for a given discharge volume. In reciprocating compressor, airflow is intermediate. Intermediate means what? It is not continuous. That is, air in the suction stroke will enter into the cylinder and in the delivery stroke it will go out of the cylinder. So in case of single acting reciprocating compressor, airflow is not continuous. Whereas in case of rotary compressor, airflow is continuous. Seventh point, purity of compressed air. Air delivered from the compressor is dirty since it comes in contact with the lubricating oil and the cylinder surface. In case of reciprocating compressor, there is a friction between piston and the cylinder. So because of friction between the piston and the cylinder, we are using lubricating oil. So this lubricating oil can come in contact with respect to that of the air which is delivered at the delivery pipe. And because as air comes in contact with the lubricating oil, there is the chances of air to become dirty. Whereas in case of rotary compressor, air delivered will be clean and free from dirt. Eighth point, compression efficiency. Compression efficiency is higher with pressure ratio more than 2. Whereas for rotating compressor, compressor efficiency is higher when the compression ratio is less than 2. So it is suitable for high pressure ratio, whereas rotary compressor is suitable for less pressure ratio. Ninth, maintenance. Reciprocating compressor requires high maintenance because of reciprocating parts such as piston and cylinder. This requires less maintenance because of sliding parts. Mechanical efficiency. Mechanical efficiency is related with the friction. The compressor in which there is more friction will be having less mechanical efficiency. So friction between piston and cylinder is more, so mechanical efficiency is low in case of reciprocating compressor, whereas in case of rotary compressor, mechanical efficiency is higher because of less sliding parts. So this is the end of chapter compressor. I have tried to cover almost all topics related to air compressors, and this is the part of basic mechanical engineering. So you can go through all topics of compressor for chapter number 9 in the GTU. Thanks for watching.